I'm going to leave this right here. Okay, now I'm gonna try to minimize OBS. Maybe that was the issue?
Did we minimize too soon?
Yeah, like I didn't think that was an issue. Um,
So here's the thing.
yeah,
We've been talking to you
yeah. Sorry
for
about
like
that.
5 minutes. Um, I guess like 6 minutes now. We've been talking to you assuming that we were streaming, and it appears
Yeah.
we are
And we
not.
were so disheartened that nobody responded to like the cool idea that we had that we immediately scuttled it. Like we
Right.
just took it back and we're like, no, we're not going to do that anymore.
Could you hear us at all the whole time we were talking? Like, could you hear? Was it nothingness until just now?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know.
Yeah, they couldn't hear us. So, I have a theory. So first of all, I don't know why the go live button went gray again, but I think maybe you hit it and then switched away from it before it did its thing and then it stopped doing it. Anyway, but that's a really good thing because I accidentally put like a major like non-NDA thing on the screen that we were gonna like, oh crap, I hope nobody saw that. We're gonna have to go and black out the beginning of the stream. So we don't have to do that anymore, thank goodness.
So that's something.
Yeah, that would have been
And hello to Kiete and
that'd have been
Veronica. Well,
disastrous.
you know what? David said hi to so many of you
I did.
when we apparently weren't streaming,
Yeah.
including, I know Jake, Patrick, Arias, Jesse, George, you all got mentions. We talked
Yeah.
to you, at you, and
I
we weren't even there.
like I know like it's a tease, but seriously, like I actually did that because I had put everything up on my screen except I hadn't opened the Beaver language. And so then I went to the pages icon and was like, open recent. And then it's like one of the most recent things is something that is super NDA. Anyway, so yeah, see, George knows what's up.
Like literally, I sent David a text message as a reminder to be like, as soon as the stream ends, you need to go back and black out the first 30 seconds of the video. But now it looks like we don't
Yep,
because we just absolutely were not streaming.
we're in the clear.
Woo!
All right. So anyway, I will repeat an apology I made. We had promised to sort our streaming situation by today, and we didn't. So we haven't explored options with looking at second cameras or doing anything like that. I'm thinking about getting the mouse and keyboard from upstairs and like plugging them in for this so that I can be down here and we can just position this as a camera wherever we want.
That is a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, since we're on the apology train, when we realized we were not actually streaming, I was also going to apologize for something else to our patrons,
Oh, okay.
and
Can't wait.
that is your monthly podcast will be late. It's not going to happen by tomorrow.
We do a podcast?
We do a podcast. LangTime Chat will be delayed until at least this weekend, and I do apologize for that. February is a short month, and it surprises me every year. It's like I'm unprepared for my many years of experience on the face of this earth for the end of February. Every single year, I'm unprepared.
But this is like the longest February in like 4 years.
It is, and it made me feel like I had so much more time in February than I had. And unless you have secretly prepped our podcast that we can then just record tonight.
Did you have an idea for a podcast? If not, we're soliciting ideas for a podcast.
Yes, didn't Jake send us an article they wanted us to review?
Really?
Remember on Discord?
Ooh.
With all the charts that even you were looking at it and went, oh.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so
was it an OT thing?
I don't remember. I don't remember, but Jake, you sent us something, I
Yeah.
believe, on Discord. And in my head, I was just like, oh, that will be our next podcast. I need to actually read the article, though.
Yeah.
And so, gotta prepare.
Okay. Well, anyway, but as you know, like it's LangTime tradition, every February 29th, Jesse takes over and runs the stream. And then I, in the background, do a drawing of her as she's doing the stream, and then I present it at the end of the episode. So you want to get
It
started?
was about ergativity, and it did have a lot of synexery. I'm ignoring you. And so instead,
Syntaxery.
I like synexery.
Yeah.
And I believe that's the appropriate pronunciation as well.
Mm-hmm.
Synexery is another one. And yes. Okay. So David was actually
Yeah.
previously, when we weren't actually streaming, David
Yeah.
was, after the apologies, ready to jump into the poll.
I am.
And so
Yeah. And I'm very excited about this poll. Because this is a massive poll that was really going to determine the course of the Beaver language moving forward. And and I asked patrons to take care in considering the options. And I think they take care.
they taked care.
Yeah, they either
They
that or
tooketh the careth.
they take cared. Yeah. Or is it taked cared?
Okay.
Cake. Layer cake. Toitakaku.
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 David always lets me know I don't do that diphthong right, because every time I say the word to him, he says it back to me, and in this intonation that is like, why can't you get this? You always rag on me about that pronunciation.
It is reminiscent of the pronunciation of Mike Myers' pronunciation of tight in the third Austin Powers. Toit.
As if that's supposed to mean anything to me.
Yeah.
You assume
never-
I've seen the third Austin Powers.
I don't know. You were born roughly the same time I was. I assume you've done everything that I have.
You would think, many years into working with me, that you would know that that is just an absolutely false.
Well, that is
Statement.
the maggiest of pies, if I have ever seen one. Anyway, took me a while. Toitakaku.
Oh, that's how badly we were saying it?
Chat stopped. Chat stopped existing.
Oh, well, it exists on our end, and I can see it in the
Yeah,
little
I can see
video.
it on the screen.
And in fact, I see all 3 of your comments about chatting not working on our YouTube screen.
Yeah, Arias. I mean, you should have taken your own advice and not burned chat.
Should have caretook with the chat.
Caretook. A caretaker. Okay.
It got very dark in here.
Yeah.
Even though our lights are on, it's the ambiance of it's like the sun disappeared outside, and therefore it got very dark, and I feel very disoriented suddenly.
'Tis a fine chat, never burn. All right. So the poll was about the form of our partitive. And we had decided there's really only going to be 2 cases here. We're going to have nominative and partitive, and that's it. Everything else is going to be achieved with prepositions and articles.
That sounds right.
No, it's postpositions. Postpositions and articles.
It's a different language. I was thinking preposition.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm back.
All right. So let us let our cares be tooken, and let's examine what we had to consider. First thing that we did was we said that the form of the partitive was going to be ush. All right. And by the way, after this, we're going to do something with sh at the end of words. And so I also forget what it was going to mean. We'll figure that out as we go along, because we did have a meaning for it. Hopefully we wrote it down. But so the reason is that we were going to have this, takul, right? And then there was a question about it if it was going to end up being taku or taku. In other words, if we're going to preserve the morai.
Did something else show up when chat stopped, or was it just a black box?
It's just a picture of a clown. Yeah.
Did John Quixote take over?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
He does that periodically. He never participates in our chats and never leaves comments or anything like that. But John Quixote is always watching.
Always.
Always. All right.
The clown is always ready.
Yep. And so anyway, we came up with all of these.
That's you.
Ouch. We came up with like all these tables showing exactly how the forms would work in various ways. But some of them proved to be trivial, and so we didn't include those. Instead, we drilled down on the ones that were important. So we came up with 3 options for you to consider. And they were presented in very OT-like ways, optimality theoretic ways, in that, languages conspire to achieve something. So the first option that we gave for you to consider was that the language was conspiring to make the final segment monomoraic, and that is monomoraic in the actual like phonetic sense rather than the phonological sense, by which I mean O, for example, in the Beaver language, is technically heavy because it comes from a sequence of A, U. However, like phonetically, it's a singleton, so monomoraic. So even though phonologically it's heavy, phonetically, it's not. All right. So we took these sequences and to do this, we run through the regular VV sound changes, and then we shorten the long vowels and then apply a further round of VV changes. So let's see what we did here. So we shortened the long vowels here. So whatever happens to this oo, it's a long oo, and then it just becomes short. Here we shortened the and it became, and then we did it again. We ran it again, and it became O. This one, we decided that O just became oo. We decided that EU, which was a sequence that didn't exist before, was close enough to I'm sorry. EU was close enough to EU that it became U. This one is fairly explicable. Triple U becomes single U. By the way, this was one of Jessie's favorites, as she pointed out. This will mean that what is a long vowel in the nominative becomes a short vowel in the partitive, which is pretty interesting. And that's the only difference. Here we have, another EU sequence that becomes U, no change. Here is that tautekaku, or almost. So it's au, and we just say it becomes U, because whatever. And then uu, which...
Oh, can you scroll down a bit?
Do we not see the bottom?
I don't think so.
That's interesting. How? Interesting. We kind of were a fan of this sequence, uu, or was it uu? No, it was uu that we were a fan of. But
the screen cuts off about right there.
But it just becomes u, and then we have eu becoming u. So this is what happens with all of these. The rest of them are perfectly explicable. All right, so that's that one. The bimoraic suffix was saying we take everything and make it long. All right, and so this gave us all kinds of things like taku, takao, takuo, takio, takao, taku, takiu, takeu, takui, takui. So it was ui. Yeah, ui, takui, and takiu. So this introduced a whole series of diphthongs that did not exist in the language prior. So this would mean that a lot, not all, remember, these were targeted. Some of them would just be normal, but a lot of the partitive forms would end up with these longer, weird diphthongs. And so that was the bimoraic one. Then there was halvesies, and halvesies was sometimes bimoreic and sometimes not. And it actually simplified things quite a bit. So here we have a lengthening. Taku becomes taku. Taka becomes tako. Taka becomes tako. And so on. Lots of things become tako. Then lots of things become taku, long. And the rest of them become taku, basically. All right. So those were our three options. And this was a fun poll, because there is a clear first place, second and third place are tied.
Oh.
And not because nobody voted for them. Each one had a healthy number of votes. And that's why I was really pleased with this poll. I think that our patrons really took their time and considered things, and then, very proudly decided not to vote like Magpie.
Yeah.
Kidding. But anyway, so two of them are tied with a good number of votes. One of them was the clear winner. And the winner is the monomoreic suffix.
Ooh.
And there it is. I think that, I'm not sure, but I think that the many patrons may have been influenced by what I wrote here. Because I said that the partitive was going to be, and this is true, it's going to be a connector. It's going to serve as a connector for longer phrases, but also probably for compounds. And so I think maybe they were like, you know what, this should probably be streamlined. And yeah. I don't know, but I agree. So I think that's a really good decision. Now we're going to have to write up the sound changes to make this a reality. But first, since this is, February 29th LangTime, I'm going to do the traditional February 29th LangTime nap. So we're just going to have about 25 minutes of shut-eye. Everybody, you brought your pillows since it is February 29th. And I'm going to go ahead and give us some ocean noises for us to nap to.
There we go. I'll stop the noise making. So we're celebrating with some ginger cookies for the monomoreic not suffixes, but partitive forms. And
each of us gets one cookie per mora. Cheers.
We get a cookie. We'll celebrate with Kopiko later, but this is the opening celebration because we needed to finish these off, and it feels like a good thing.
Oh, Patrick, are they made with real ginger? Jesse, tell them.
Oh, they're made with real ginger, all right.
How much real ginger, Jesse?
There was a lot of real ginger, David. I was making a recipe for dinner one night that needed ginger. And the ginger root at the store was finally very healthy looking. For the last few months, every time I needed ginger, it was a very sad job to sort through the table of ginger and find some of the root that still looked not moldy or not shriveled and shrunken.
This was some 2-pack-a-day ginger, if you know what I mean.
This one was oh my God, this is the healthiest, loveliest ginger root I've seen in a while. So I bought a very big section of ginger that I didn't actually need for the recipe because I only needed a small piece of it. But I'm I don't care, I'm getting it anyway. And so I cut up what I needed for the recipe, and all the rest of the ginger, I was I'm making cookies. And so there is way more ginger in here than is necessary for an actual ginger cookie. And yet I love it. Yes.
Jesse and I have different, not flavor palettes, different sets of taste buds. There are things that I really enjoy that Jesse doesn't, and vice versa. But one thing we agree on lots of things in taste-wise, but one thing we really agree on is how we like our gingerbread. And so help me, if you give me a gingerbread cookie or whatever, and it snaps, I will throw it in the trash. Take that, Paul Hollywood.
And Patrick, I assumed that was a typo, so I ignored the S on ginger. But Miles, that is a good suggestion. Put it in a rice cooker when we make rice if we have extra ginger.
Answering Jake, you don't share a set of taste buds in your marriage. The answer is no, that was part of the prenuptial agreement. Each of us had one for the other to sign. And one of them was that we would indeed, bring our own taste buds to the marriage and keep them separate and leave with them upon the dissolution.
That was not the document you made me sign. David made me sign that I would give up cooking with onions for him. That was what I had to sign.
Being serious, I didn't make her sign that. That wasn't in the prenuptial agreement, which of course was a real thing that she actually signed. That was just her gift to me, not cooking with onions anymore.
Goodness.
Arias, you need to now start a YouTube channel, and this needs to be how every single video starts. Remove the Jesse, just say, "Good afternoon. What? You are in America. You have rights." And then that's just how your video starts. Every single one.
Oh, man.
There's onion in the ginger cookies.
Double the onion, double the love.
Try it, Arias.
Actually, I will say, though, I found out surprisingly, because I did cook a dish with roasted pearl onions, and David liked them. And I was like, "What? Who is this man?" But I was making the roasted pearl onions for Aaron and me, thinking David wouldn't want any. And then he ended up being like, "Oh, well, these are fun."
So, about onion, the thing that I don't like about onion, I don't like the flavor, the smell, or the texture. And that's both the texture when you eat it and the texture when you touch it, right? Pearl onions are very small. It's kind of like green onions or spring onions or fresh onions, or I'm sorry, chives. If you chop up the chives, like the closer you're into the green, it's like the texture isn't an issue, and so the taste can be tolerated. And may even add something in small doses. But scallions, yes. Scallion is another word for pearl onion, right? Or no, that's another
That's
word
a
for green
green
onion.
onion.
Sorry, scallion is another word for green onion. The pearl onion I found is frequently used in cream-based chicken soups or chicken pot pies. And I think that it has a delightful texture. It's small, self-contained, has a little bit of a pop, reminds me of what we would, of the pods that you pick up at the beach, that are attached to seaweed that, you like to pop,
No. I
You-
don't.
Oh, you had a very different childhood. It's such a joy going across the beach when a bunch of seaweed has been washed ashore, and they have these little pods. These small little, they're kind of like goldeny browny pods, and if you find any that are unpopped, it's kind of like bubble wrap, where it's like ooh, and then they
Does
pop.
something come out?
No,
Okay.
no, they're empty. They're just filled with some sort of gas. Anyway, the pearl onion reminds me of that. For the most part, its flavor has been blanched, and so it's kind of like a little pop. There is a flavor of onion, but for me, it's really the flavor and the texture combined that makes it so awful. Um, and so like the pearl onion is something I don't mind, and the texture and the little pop, it's something that can be a little pleasing. So that's why I don't mind it in soups or pot pies like that.
Anyway, um, I think David's wrong because the roasted pearl onions to me were the same texture as any onion in any recipe. But um, I
I avoided touching seaweed whenever possible. Man, I loved it.
um,
Bladder. So, I never knew this term bladder rack, by the way. I never knew what they were called. They're just things you play with on the beach.
oh, and Karis is suggesting that perhaps silver skin onion is what maybe they call them elsewhere. The pearl onions.
Interesting.
I'm looking that up.
Oh no, seaweed is lovely.
Yeah, those do look like little pearl onions. Although this is a variety of pickled onion, and pearl onions are, of course,
The Kara is
just
saying we
small.
normally eat them pickled. Yeah, in
Yeah,
America,
David would not enjoy the pickled.
in America, of course, the pearl onion is called a half onion because it's like half of an onion. If you ask for half an onion in Britain, they give you an onion and then a half an onion extra.
Anyway.
All right.
David, let's make this poll a reality. And Jonathan did indeed already make that joke. You're
What?
late, David. You're so late to the
Oh,
conversation.
goodness.
Do you see? Oh, it was at the top of the screen there.
Good. I saw
Even
it.
for a second.
I saw it. I saw it.
Well, David saw it after Jonathan was witty enough to
Yeah.
provide it first.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, I was actually just trying to take credit for his joke, for their joke myself.
and
You
you
know,
failed.
yeah.
You failed miserably because not only did they call you out on it,
Yeah.
but like other people are now like, David,
Yeah.
boo.
Okay, so let's contend with our sound changes because this is where things are going to get tricky.
Looks like I edited the document.
Ding. All right, so we have this VV simplification.
Yes, we did just learn how to say half six in Finnish.
Oh,
But I don't think I knew there was a specific word for 1.5.
I did know that. So here's the best part. So puoli is half in Finnish, right? And then you have this toista onion. So you might wonder, what is that? Well, let me help you understand that by telling you this. Yksi is 1 in Finnish. Yksitoista is 11. Kaksi is 2 in Finnish. Kaksitoista is 12. Puoli is half. Puolitoista is 1.5. How about that? Isn't that wild?
We also learned that, day is päitä?
Päivä.
Päivä.
Oh, yeah.
And then evening is ilta.
Right.
And then afternoon is iltapäivä. It's evening day.
Yeah. So you go from päivä to iltapäivä to ilta.
Delightful.
Okay. So can you actually pull up the poll on your screen? Because this is going to take a little figuring out. Oh, what a delightful turn of phrase. Arya says, bewilder me considered.
Woo! I love it. Okay.
Okay. So the thing that is crucially going to make a work is that long vowels have to shorten. But these long vowels have to shorten only in this suffix. So this has to be not a language-wide sound change. It has to be what we call like grammaticalization, phonological reduction. What's the word? Not liaison, not reduction. Lenition. Morphological lenition or grammaticalization lenition. Because this is one of the key elements of grammaticalization. You have, of course, language-wide sound changes. And you can have lenition, but you can also have fortition and a bunch of other things. With morphology, in other words, when lexical material is being reinterpreted as grammatical material, there will sometimes be accelerated sound changes that apply to that morphological material. And those sound changes are almost always, I think always, but I'm going to hedge it and say almost always lenition. It can be lenition as understood in the lens of a language. So what might count as lenition in one doesn't count as lenition in another. But it's generally going to be lenition when it is specifically applying to morphology. So this is what we need to do. There's essentially two rounds of lenition that happen. One of those rounds of lenition has to be vowel-vowel shortening. The second round of lenition can be the language-wide simplification.
Pasta.
That's right, with this with sound change 7. So what we need to do, we need to have this this VV lenition that occurs in the partitive. It has to occur before 7. And it has to be targeted, and so that other VV sequences are not simplified.
If you didn't hear me chant your name, pasta, I chanted when I saw you, but David was in the middle of talking, and I didn't want to fully interrupt him, so
That's all right.
I just pasta.
I know, I heard it. So, it'd be so funny. You remember, longtime viewers of the show will remember when we had the recurring issues with the porn bots.
Oh my God.
And I'm imagining the same thing happening here, except
with the pasta bots.
Yeah, and pasta just starts, pasting these, spam like rigatoni, macaroni, fusilli, buy it all here. Okay, so we should put it in here, but it's got to be the
real copy pasta. Alfredo fettuccine.
Radiatore is my favorite pasta.
What is radiatore?
Let's take a moment and take a look. Radiatore pasta. This is it. Right here.
Oh, gotcha.
This is my favorite pasta, bar none.
That I have never made for you. You're welcome.
I mean, it's a specialty pasta. I mean, you can't get it everywhere. Look at this. You have to go to this place called Target.
Target. Yeah, no, I
Love it.
I actually don't make a whole lot of pasta.
No, I know. It's
I did though.
It's filled with those carbohydrates.
One time I made homemade gnocchi for David.
Oh, she sure did.
And that was an experience. But yes.
Okay.
I think I make more orecchiette than any other kind of pasta.
By the way, we also have to add some other vowel sequences to that thing because they didn't previously exist. Because I, you existed, but you didn't exist. A, you didn't exist. So that we can just add those to the sound change, and it'll only occur in the circumstance.
Yeah.
But at least it can still be language-wide. The vowel lenition is something that we have to write in.
And Karis, I never purposefully put on an accent, so if that's the accent it sounded like, then I'm going to say, yes, that is the accent I was going for. But in general, there was one time I was doing a recording with David, and I did it, and David just looked at me, and he was like, do you realize you did that with a slight, Caribbean accent on that? And I was like, what? He played it back for me, and I think he was right, but then he was like, try to do that again. That sounded cool. And then I could never do it again.
Yeah.
Because then I was thinking about it, and I have no idea how I did it the first time.
I like it when you go to say something and finish, because it's like you got to gear up for it. It's like you pause for a second, and you go, and then boom.
And then you tell me I did it all wrong. This is how our daily finish lessons go. I get very excited that I'm going to try to say something and finish, and then David's like, no. Oh, Bubba, so sad to hear that.
You missed nothing even remotely amusing.
I'm hungry though. Oh, I should have waited for that cookie.
I'm gonna... Here. This is how we're gonna do it.
Right there?
Yes, right here.
Voicicle?
And I have a recommendation to make, and I want to put it to you and everybody watching. So I mentioned that, every so often it's we finish with our sound changes, right? And we're moving on to grammar, but every so often you find something you miss. And you have to ask yourself the question, are we happy with that? Are we going to roll with this? Or do we want to change it? One of the things that we missed was we didn't do anything with voiceless L at the end of a word. We previously targeted voiceless L. You can see after that, this becomes H. What is this?
That's
But this is
post-nasal.
post-nasal, right? We also addressed it becoming a regular L in between voiced sounds. And then, of course, we have the voiceless nasals becoming nasalization somewhere up here. So here we have the voiceless nasals are lost in coda position, all right? This might make a... Okay, this is gonna... Okay.
You getting it?
This is gonna be big, but I have a suggestion. Number one, this is a great place for us to target the loss of voiceless L. In other words, we're losing voiceless nasals in coda position. So then why don't we do the same thing with voiceless L? And we can say voiceless L goes to H. All right? In coda position. And by the way, oh wow, now this is, oh boy. We may have to, oh, whoa. Okay.
I don't know what's happening in your head right now.
We may have to shift some things blah, 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 around. Okay.
Oh, David is so excited he can't even get words
It's
out.
too much. All right. Let me, okay, I'm going to take this one. Okay. Let's call it that. And then,
As David is doing this, I want to point something out. I saw I had a Discord notification, and Discord has more recently been sending me like, hey, here are some highlights you're missing from this channel. And it's always really funny because it's obviously some sort of like word puller outer where they decide what the important words are and they string them together. Like the other day, it told me that David and Jake, among others, were chatting about Victorian juice girls.
that's right.
Which pulled three random words from kind of different conversations and put them together. And today I got the notification that the chat highlight is that people are chatting about Peterson's favorite characters.
Wow. Are they really doing that?
I don't know. I'm going to need to check chat. But Peterson's favorite characters
Well, let me tell
is
you.
the
If you're talking about Jane Austen, you're already on the wrong track. Okay.
Baba. Okay. Okay. I've got to go back, I think, to find out where this started. David, you explain what you're thinking.
I mean, first of all, I should do video game voices. But one of the reasons that this came up, I discovered that several patrons play Hades. And by the way, you've seen me play Hades enough to, be able to recognize some of the voices for the various gods and everything. Yeah. All right. There's something odd about Hades specifically.
I heard your description of it, and now I don't, like, I've seen you play the game so often, and I don't remember the voice.
Well, the thing is, like, all of the characters have voices done by voice actors. Hades is the only one that sounds like it was a woman's voice that was run through some sort of speech modification. It doesn't sound like somebody doing a voice. And to me, it specifically sounds like Marina Sirtis, who plays Deanna Troi in Star Trek The Next Generation, in the episode where all of the crew's memories have been wiped. And slowly but surely, they come to realize that Data is lying to them. And they're like, how on earth could this be possible? And it's because the captain has in fact ordered him. This is a big spoiler. The captain
Oh,
has
spoiler.
ordered Data to lie to them. And then, once this is all figured out, apparently what happened, there were these aliens that didn't want contact with anybody and wanted no record of their existence. And in order to make themselves known, because apparently they had the ability to destroy the ship, they implanted like kind of their voices into members of the crew. And so like Deanna Troi, they spoke through Deanna Troi because she was like half Beta Z, I think. Anyway, and so to mimic this on the show, they essentially took Marina Sirtis's voice and ran it through some sort of a thing so it sounded a little lower, like some sort of an alien. And that's what Hades' voice sounds like in the game Hades. And only Hades. That's the only one. And I don't know why. Anyway.
Okay. I have no idea after having read that entire chat where Peterson's favorite characters came from. Peterson, because there's a discussion on who was the best Peterson.
Oh, yeah. Hold on. I do want to see. Is H a proto sound?
Oh, good question, David. Yes. No. No. It is a green one.
Thank goodness. That's what I was hoping for.
And they demand deliciousness. You're right, Jay. Okay.
All right. How do we get H? It's just W, right? Yes. Yes. This is going to work. This is going to work. Okay.
Oh, Jonathan, was that your typo? I saw all sorts of interesting things in chat. I just still, though, didn't see why it's Peterson's favorite characters as the summation. But anyway.
All right. Where's the first place that H emerges?
Isn't it with the end of the where the L, the voiceless L is deleted, becomes H? There. Postnasal assimilation.
Okay.
I think that's the first H that we have.
Okay. Okay. All right. Then I think we can take care of this. Shoot. Okay. I don't. Is Graham watching by any chance?
Oh wait, remember I have access.
No, that's not why I'm asking. I want Graham to double check our work.
So Graham, we need you for your expertise.
Or for Bibloridian to just tell me that he disapproves and then we'll be done with it. But
I saw Bibloridian here at one point. Are you still here, Bib?
Yeah. But here, I'm going to blank all those out. Just want to make sure I've got this correct. Yeah. I do have it correct. Wait. Yes, I do have it correct. That is so funny. Here it goes from the voices. The voiceless mark goes from underneath to underneath. No, never mind. It's not.
It looks like it's stacked.
Yeah, it's not. It's not actually interesting or funny at all. Okay, I'm gonna. Just make it a little bit bigger. I think it's still going to be visible. Wait.
Stream issues.
Don't care about your opinion. Oh, man. Poor George. George has been slighted.
That was fully unintentional. I was just trying to get our CEO online.
And indeed, no, that doesn't fit. So I'm going to have to go down one. Okay, anyway. So I do have the situation correct. As it stands with our current sound changes, if you have a vowel followed by a voiceless nasal,
Already, yes. You're the best, Artie, yes.
if you have a vowel followed by a voiceless nasal and then followed by a consonant, it doesn't matter whether that consonant is voiced or voiceless, the previous vowel becomes nasalized. So anpa becomes anpa and anba becomes anba. Fine. With the L, if the following sound is voiced, alba becomes alba, which is what we want. Alpa stays alpa. Now, this is what I propose. First, so this is the situation as it stands.
Oh, Jonathan, that sounds like it was probably chipmunky and fascinating. It somehow got switched to 6.25 times speed.
All right, just for you. All right, first I recommend that alpa becomes ahpa, like that. Then I recommend that ahpa become apa. And then that is where I recommend the vowel reduction rule, but only for suffixes.
Okay, so if this is a full root, this would remain with the pa.
That's right.
It would get the long vowel. Okay.
And so consequently, you could have a word that was so what is currently apash will become apa, and then but only for the suffix it will shorten.
Only before a suffix. Okay.
Yes.
What happens? Do we allow diphthongs at proto stage, right?
Actually, wait a minute.
Because we only have.
Wait a minute. This might not make any sense. Shoot. Yeah, because essentially we're just having it disappear. Okay. So where sha becomes h, in the suffix, the h will actually just disappear. But for other things, it will remain its length. And so then the kind of impetus for it disappearing. You see what I'm trying to do?
I do see what you're trying to do. I'm trying to also, though, put it together with, because then I was trying to remember, and I don't see it clearly written in the document. Had we said if there's a diphthong, there cannot be a coda?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, because that was one of my concerns was, well, what do we do if there's this coda plus a diphthong? But if it can only be a, u, or e followed by a coda, because those are our
Yes.
three proto vowels, then I see less problems there.
Yeah.
So I think it is smart to go with that sort of H and then a lengthened vowel because it mimics what we're doing with the nasalized vowel. We're adding something to the vowel when we delete the coda and it's being lost there. And so I like all of that. That's all fine for me. I do see what you're saying with it makes it weird then for these suffixes, which are now going to be reduced. I think, and it's also going to be weird because we're only dealing right now with one suffix that happens to be in a particular form. And so I don't know the best place to put the rule. I don't know the best way to say it. I don't know the best way to cover other suffix forms that we may end up making in the language.
Yeah.
But what I feel like is that it may take place after the H, after the L has been moved to an H, and then I think you're right, the H could just drop out.
Yeah.
Without the vowel lengthening yet. So it's almost like here's a sound change in process, and while this sound change is in process,
There's a
suffixes are
split.
really taking shape.
There's a split,
And
yeah.
then the suffixes do this thing, but then all the roots and the, other forms do this thing. Um, that would also indicate that we could do weird things with a suffix that has a voiceless nasal, because the
Yeah.
voiceless nasals would not yet have nasalized the vowels, because this would happen before those other changes, which means we would have wiggle room with how would we want a suffix sounding with this, you know, change, because rule 4 has not yet happened. Oh, Bibleridian is indeed here if we want our CEO to just like
Yeah. Uh,
come in and
rule 2 is the nasalization.
oh, rule 2.
Yeah, rule 4 is just
That's
assimilation.
what I was thinking. Okay.
Yeah. By the way, there was some very funny stuff that RES did there, complimenting themselves in the guise of being the real Graham.
I love it.
Yep. Something to watch for on the replay.
So Bibleridian, we're trying to figure out the best method of essentially creating 2 different tracks in these sound changes, one for full forms and one for this is what's going to happen when a suffix happens, because our partitives are going to be monomeraic.
I think the first thing that happens that should be fairly straightforward and uncontroversial is we just take this sound change and essentially apply it to the voiceless L, saying that it becomes H. And we leave it at that and while we discuss further.
Okay.
Because we didn't want the voiceless H at the end of a word, right? No, I'm sorry, the voiceless L at the end of a word.
No, I thought that was something you'd wanted to get rid of.
Yeah, so we're going to do that. Okay, so let's start there.
Oh, and yeah, Karis had answered your question, George, but yeah, Graham is amazing and wonderful and has since the days of Angala actually coded sound changes onto Lexergy for us, so that way we could use the site in every stream, and has been wonderfully on top of things and like making it happen every season, even with the craziness. So I think, and I don't know if Graham had already intended to do this, but in I think it was Sartkaj that really brought it to the forefront. We needed the difference between a compound form and like an actual morpheme or not morpheme, sorry, David just gave me a look, and an affix that was added. And we needed a distinction between those compound forms versus the affixes. And David, in his hated word there, I do apologize. But Graham made that happen and like had to like actually add code to Lexergy to make that happen, and that was just amazing. Oh, I do too, Bib. Totally.
Okay. So this is okay. I see. Okay. We need a little bit of a pause and need to consider.
Yes, Karis, I just violated my own prenuptial agreement there.
Mm-hmm.
I was never supposed to use the word morpheme again, and there it was. And David is horrified.
I think we should have a general rule that the only people that can use the word morpheme are those that can define it, which means that immediately, like most conlangers, won't be allowed to use it anymore. Okay. If we do this, just like this, this is the result. So we're no longer, this thing is never going to be present with our voiceless L voicing in between voice things anymore. So that won't happen when it's a coda.
But it would happen as an onset. So abla would become abla.
Let's take a look. I'm pretty sure that you're right. Yes. So it'll happen when it's an onset, and of course it will also happen when it's in between vowels. Um, Personally, even though this gives us less L, I think it mirrors this sound change very nicely. And so I think we should move forward with it for that reason.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, good. Stage 1 is set. Let's see.
That's right, Miles. That's amazing. Oh, man. All right. Now. Now what, David?
Okay, that's a fair and honest question. Now what?
Exactly. I made Bibleridian reappear in chat for you, and then
Bibleridian channeling his inner Hank Hill. We came all this way for this?
I mean,
As appearing in The Simpsons. All right. Okay, so we need to get rid of that H. The question is where?
Baba, could you say we could do Noel?
Noel, 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 Noel. Gone is the lateral from our dwell. From our realm. How about that? No, it still doesn't work. But
I feel like
where's that H gonna disappear?
oh, my stomach has ideas about that. Oh, I looked at just the wrong time. What was Jake's message? It's retracted though. And then voice ass. Because you don't want coda H, and you're still looking at then if it's a coda H, doing the vowel lengthening, right? Like that.
Yeah, so it feels like it should happen somewhere around here. It doesn't really matter whether it happens before or afterwards. It could be that the loss of this H triggers the vowel lengthening, which causes this. It could be that the vowel lengthening here, the presence or the possibility of having long vowels is what triggers the loss of H and gives us more. It could be either of those things. But
well, how does George feel about it?
That's right. George, how would you get us out of this? This is a real quagmire.
Which chain do you like better?
I'm so wondering about that redacted message of Jake's.
I know. I need to go back and watch the replay.
By the way, I don't know if we talked about this beforehand, but Jake, and I want you to understand, I'm not saying anything here, but you had some news recently. Did you want us to share this news, or do you want us to still not talk about that?
That was a spelling mistake. Gotcha, Jake.
Oh.
And also, Bubba has a joke for you.
Okay. In game, will the Beavers be from Damnation? Yeah.
A redacted message.
All right. So while we think about where we're going to lose this H, I did want to share some very, very exciting news. That is, well, let's say it's 6 of one, half a dozen of another when it comes to exciting news. Jake got the opportunity to create a language for a movie that was recently released called Madam Web. I'm sure you've heard of Madam Web for reasons. The unfortunate news is that the language was cut, so you will not get to hear it. But it was an actual language creation job. Jake created a whole language. It was really cool, and I I hope that Jake will go on to share some, share with us what exactly they created, so that we can all take a look at it. Um, it Again, it's very exciting and very disappointing at the same time, but I think that this is something that as a professional language creator, you just kind of have to get used to. Because sometimes you get to do really cool things, and sometimes that work isn't showcased. Either it's cut entirely or it's chopped down to the bare minimum. Sometimes you're credited, sometimes you're not. And that's kind of the way it goes. But I mean, I think it's really cool. And I really hope we get to see some of this language so that Jake can showcase exactly what they can do. And that, others will take a look at it, and maybe this will lead to more work. Anyway, and so I just wanted to be sure that someplace we could announce it and let people know. So congratulations, Jake.
Oh, and Jake had mentioned there will be an exposition on March 20th coming out. And so March 20th, something will be released to give more information about Pankashku. I don't know if I got the stress right there. And so that Jake got to talk to one actor. It did not go well.
Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah. Sometimes it goes well. Sometimes it does not. It really is just a person-to-person thing. But yeah, tell us what the stress pattern is. So I think both of us would just say, just off the bat, Pankashku. Is that right? Or is it, Pankashku? Let us know.
In Arayaj, you're exactly right. It has tone. Well, tell us the tones.
So if I knew that, I would say, okay, nothing is marked on that word, so I'm guessing it's all low tone, Pankashku. That's my guess.
Oh, it was a big mistake to have tone. I would say for a long time, David avoided tonal conlangs for reasons of pronunciation. But then in Menishe,
that was the first one.
All right. And George has not answered, so
no.
Conlangery may be out. Biblaridian.
You just shut off the stream in disgust.
Should we go before or after our vowel simplification? Do you have thoughts? When we should lose this H and have the vowel lengthening for full forms?
All right. I think it should happen before.
I think that feels good. It does give a drive too, because the diphthongs are reducing in a lot of situations, but not the long vowels. They're staying long, and so.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jesse, the tone in Tsitsash was a lot of fun too. We had a lot of fun with that language.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one set of recordings. Do you remember one set of recordings we had to do on a train from Copenhagen to Aarhus in Denmark? And we were glad we were the only people in the car on that train. Because we had to get these recordings done and sent. And it was, thank goodness for quiet-ish running trains in Denmark.
Okay. Oh, here we go. A very tapahla vowel set there. So we have. My glasses are failing me.
Low,
hold on, is that nasalization or length?
Nasal.
So
it's nasal.
So that's Pankashku.
Assume penultimate. Okay. Nice. Pankashku.
Of course, if it were, tapahla. Pankashku.
Oh man. David, we made a decision. Time to Kopiko a break.
Yeah. This is going to be a very slow episode. Our thousands of viewers are going to shut us off.
Yeah. Well, we lost our two biggest ones, so.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, no. Now Logan's here. He's going to tell everybody what we're doing.
Oh, hey. Danielle-ish episode. We would never. We would never. But we're celebrating ourselves anyway.
Yeah. Kopiko, when you realize you're going to have to throw in the opposite rounding vowels into your beautifully constructed table and ruin it. Logan, I will say that the important news that you just missed is that we announced that Jake got the opportunity to create a language for the movie Madam Web, but unfortunately the language was cut. On March 20th, we can look forward to Jake releasing some information about the language.
Just a second, I have to think about doing this just right. Bankashku.
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 It's
Bankashku.
once you get used to it, it's actually really easy. Bankashku.
Bankashku. I think I almost got it.
I may have sondied the second tone a little bit there, and y'all know what I mean, but close enough.
Well, good old paying cash cue.
The pancake language.
No, Jake, I would be that actor you try to just. I would be the actor that you would be like getting so frustrated with, because it's like I just keep repeating what I think I hear, and every time you'll just be like, nope, not what I said. Then you'll get David's experience as he tells me, nope, it's more like this, and I'm like, what? I'm saying it like you are. And he's like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Oh, nice, Logan. Jesse wants to know what your shirt is. It's a Suns shirt, Phoenix Suns.
Oh, this is from the old days. Well, at this point, the old days. There was an iteration of the Suns when they had Ricky Rubio and Kelly Oubre. They referred to themselves as Valley Boys. And somebody made a shirt that I thought was pretty cool, a Valley Boys shirt. Anyway, then... but it was just a fan-made thing. But then they stopped doing it because Kelly Oubre said he wanted to trademark the term Valley Boys, and he was going to come out with his own gear, and everybody wanted to respect that. And then he finally did, and it just was not very inspiring. It was just like, it just didn't have any Suns aesthetic to it at all, and it was just like skulls and stuff, and it was like, oh, it didn't really match what like the fans expected. Then he got traded. Anyway. We all miss him. Best of luck to him. But they generally don't refer to the Suns as Valley Boys anymore. Anyway, it was a moment.
A moment in time.
Cashew pancakes. Does that sound good to somebody who actually eats nuts?
Yeah.
Weird.
I eat them. Cashew anything I would eat. You know I like cashew. Cashew ice cream is really good. And cashew milk. My favorite milk was actually half cashew, half coconut. I thought that was really great for a lot of reasons.
Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Would Jessie ever consider opening up her Tumblr to asks?
That would suggest that I actually check it, Jessie.
There are these two sides of Jessie that I think many people don't know about. So you see the side where she is extremely personable and very loving and giving, and likes to do stuff, likes to talk to people. And then there's her private side where she literally does not want to do anything at all. And it's like, for me, it's like, I get frustrated sometimes with the Tumblr asks, and then they like pile up, and then it's like, oh crap, I need to get to some of these. But you know, I genuinely enjoy the process of like looking at these questions and answering them. Jesse hates it, like hates it, and just hates like doing anything that involves doing things and other people.
Sharing. I love doing things when it's I get to just do what I want to do in my own time. Do I need to show you all my little crochet animals that I
That's true.
I do all sorts of stuff. It's just I am really horrible at social media because it requires a certain connectitude at a level that I don't want to be connected when I'm at home and on my own time. However, when I see people face to face and one on one, I do very well. I can do well in very small groups. As soon as it gets to be very large groups, you'll see me become a little wallflower as I just watch people. and you know, if I do presentations, I'm fine. But then you'll notice in the after, anyone who has seen me and David present together, we do the presentation. I think it goes really well. And then everyone hoards around David at the end and I slink away. And that's how I prefer it. I am indeed, Jonathan. I am indeed a turtle, and as patrons know, I have mentioned that before, and I also draw myself as a turtle and crochet myself as a turtle.
Yeah.
That is me.
It was learning about introverts that made me realize I wasn't one and don't really understand them very much. But
I think it was getting to know me better that you finally went, oh, I guess I'm not at all like that.
well, there was my sister too.
Oh, and your sister.
But like
His sister and I love that we are the introverts of the only introverts, I think, of David's family. Yeah.
But I have a very interesting. I mean, it's not as if everybody is just introvert or extrovert and that's it. There's varying levels of it. But you will see that, like, if I'm at a big thing where, like, I'm going to give a presentation, but nobody knows who I am beforehand, I'm pretty much kind of like fly on the wall and don't talk to anybody because I don't like starting up conversations with people that I'm potentially not very interested in. But afterwards, when everybody knows who I am, I just love it because then everybody knows who I am and wants to talk to me and actually knows what to talk to me about. And then it's like, I could do that all day, every day. Thousands of people, don't care. Love it. I live off that. And I can go from thing to thing to thing as long as everybody knows who I am and thinks I'm cool. If they don't know who I am and don't actually want to talk to me, then why would I be there? And I hate it. That's it. That's all.
As long as it's about David, he's fine.
That's right.
Jesse, I would love to hear your questions. Email me. Feel free to send me a DM on Tumblr. I normally get notified when I get such messages, and so I can try to remember to be more cognizant to check Tumblr in the coming days if I know you may be sending me questions. But yeah, I would love to touch base with you on the questions that you may have. Again, I'm good one-on-one.
Okay. So this is very difficult because I think that what we need here is we need a set of simultaneous tracks of sound changes, one that essentially applies only to our partitive and one that applies to the whole language. Because right here at sound change number 8, this is where things diverge. Because it turns into lengthening elsewhere, but it disappears for the partitive. And this is where the partitive starts to get aggressively lenited. Absolutely not, George. Out.
So, George, I don't know if you were here during this part of the stream where I accidentally used the word morpheme, and I think David almost left the stream altogether. Uh, just left me hanging here alone. Uh, um, but yes, yes.
That is a good band name. Everybody, we're morphing boundary condition. 1, 2, 3, 4, go!
But yeah, George, some sort of affix stipulation. That would be my band name, the affix stipulation.
Ooh, oh wow.
Hey, Carl.
Morpheme boundary condition and the affix stipulation is exactly the type of band that you would see would be like under the headliner for My Chemical Romance or something.
Oh, this is why I for anyone who was at CopyCon, it was amazing to meet Bibleridian in person. It was my first time meeting Bib. And I gotta say, like, I felt so connected from the minute I met Bibleridian. I was like, yes. And a big part of that was that I felt that, Bib. And I love you for it. And I'm so grateful. It made for a lovely time of being with you.
Oh, hey, Carl. By the way, it's Thursday, so you know what that means. New episode of Halo. And I want to say it's so funny. And Carl, maybe you'll get the sense of this as well. Like I got the sense it's like, dang, they're not even having us do any Sangheli this season. Then I went back. We didn't have any Sangheli for episodes 1 or 2. Then I was looking at 5. I was like, oh, there's a lot of stuff here. And then I see there's a lot of stuff for 6 and 7 and 8, spoiler. But it's like, we're doing some stuff. Like so much stuff that I was like, maybe I can webify it really quickly. I didn't have time. I'll do it today. But yeah, Halo.
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 Oh. I never switched to live chat. But this was the only one I missed, was this comment.
TCJ, Top Chat Jesse.
Anyway, okay, so
Ooh.
George did though say like we'll have some stipulation here. I agree. Bibleridian, I hope you agree with our decision to lose the coda H at position 8 before the vowel simplification in 9. And then roughly here is, I believe, what we're going to branch off.
Partitive lenition 1.
That's right, Bib. We need to have a turtle club. It'll be a very low-key club. 2 people can only ever be in the meeting at once. Oh, that's lovely, Logan. Turtles are precious.
There we go.
Go to H, just silence and dust clouds, emptiness, and the want of anxiety. Oh, David.
That's right. The lack of it. Okay. So this is part of the lenition 1. Is lost in the partitive.
Wow, David, you're having some issues typing. Oh, there you go, Bib, bringing out the big words. Now I gotta look up.
What is it? Biology something?
Testudine.
Animal something?
Testudine. Testudine.
Turtles specifically, or testudines in general. How did I do?
I love it.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, but now I'm going to look that word up.
By the way, I'm getting really close to producing another, oh, that's so cute. Another prototype for the board game. I'd really love to get, I mean, I know it's not possible, but I'd really love to get those who played it at CopyCon together to play it.
which differ in the way their head retracts. Oh, I apparently need to learn more. Goodness gracious, that's amazing. Okay. What were you saying? I'm sorry, David.
So we've got part of the lenition 1, and so now we have the divergence. And so now we have these triple vowel sequences. There is a weaselly way we could take care of this and make this a language-wide phenomenon. And I didn't think of it until right now. But it is something that we could do. We could say when 3 vowels come next to each other, like vowels reduce. And we can just say nothing about sequences where there are 3 different vowels. Shoot. Okay. No, we can do this. We can do this. We can do this. We can do this.
And as I should be helping you puzzle, but then chat has got me totally sidetracked.
This is unbelievable. Turtle in the US is a much more general sense than it does in the UK? Really?
Yeah, because they separate out tortoise from turtle in a way that we don't.
Oh, yeah.
And so anyway, and yes, Danielle is another fellow turtle, I believe.
No, I didn't. Bits are cut off.
Is leaving the shared screen.
Yeah, I see what he means.
Oh, okay, George. Gotcha. And George also said that he'd play test the game with you if you could do an online mock-up, which is something that I thought was like, if that were possible, I thought like I believe David's game would be a great game that groups of people could end up playing from a distance in a sort of more controlled version of like a D&D game where, you know, like a campaign where you're all in different places and on Discord or whatever, sharing a space. And I thought David's game could be really wonderful for some situations like that. And so, yeah, I don't know what it would take for David, though, to have the game to a point where that would be possible. But that would be amazing. And George, that's good to know.
It is possible because it would take a lot of work. And also, like, the platform I found, it's kind of frustrating. I will just say that. It's like, and it crashes a lot. I don't know what to do. Just stop writing long messages. I think that's...
Limit yourself. But Patrick's message is very important because Patrick is suggesting that maybe people can refer to turtles as Lord Mr. Shellington V, Esquire.
Oh, that is really important.
That's really cute. That is really...
I'll just leave it like that for the rest of the stream. We'll figure it out. Okay, but I think I think that we can do this. Just how to write this. Where sequences of 3 vowels occur, like vowels reduce to a single vowel. Thus, AU becomes AU.
Okay, so...
And just for the heck of it, UU becomes U.
Really?
Because why not?
Because you're saying anything that's the same gets reduced.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
It doesn't make sense, but...
It doesn't, because then...
No, it doesn't.
It has to be 3 vowels. Because if it's 2 vowels, we would never get the long vowel of Rule 11. So it's got to
Yeah.
be three vowels in a row,
Yeah, it's got to be three vowels in a row.
which suggests to me that this is only going to happen really in compound forms. Would you say three vowels or more? Would it ever be possible that we have a diphthong followed by another diphthong?
God, I hope not. Oh no, not like that. Not like that. Goodness.
A bit of, oh no. A bit of large chat is showing up behind.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Oh my God, there it is, with those long messages again.
Yeah, we could. I'll show you. I'll show you one thing we could do. It's a little silly, but we can hide this, and then. Come on. Come on. Push, little one. Push.
What are you?
I'm trying to reduce the size of the window. See how it's...
It's like not letting you for real, but you could just, I guess, move it. That is...
I want to make it smaller. There we go. Okay. All right. See what we've done here? And we're going to go like that. There you go.
Jonathan enjoyed it, and now you've ruined it for them. See which bits of messages would show. It's like a lottery, and now it's gone.
Yeah. Now it gets even worse because we're going to be covering it up when we do this.
No, actually, somehow it looks... Oh, well, when
Yeah.
you did that, but it somehow looked bigger. Oh, did you take it out of its special little box?
Hold on.
Is this what happened?
Yes.
David.
Yeah, there you go. Here, we don't need the icons.
Okay, now people are like, put it back, put it back.
This is what we were supposed to have fixed between now and today.
Oh, we would love to have a CopyCon too, but I think we owe our European viewers a Europe trip. And then the third CopyCon, I think we owe our Australian viewers.
Triple
Chaos is indeed reigning.
Simplify to double. Let's do that.
Okay, so you took out the you, becoming you.
Becoming you.
Or sorry. Yes, you took out 3 U's to 1. Okay. Yeah, David's not allowed in Italy, I have found.
No.
There seems to be a restriction.
Yeah, they study my languages left and write papers on them, but they don't invite me.
But yeah, we've got to take CopyCon on the road and hit all the major areas.
Yes. Okay. All right. Now we're only going to need.
Oh, Miles, no, we'll make it down to Argentina for one of the CopyCons.
Yeah. It's going to be.
Oh yes, we should hold one in Helsinki.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Further VB simplification. The heretofore impossible sequences. And then, jeez, how do you get the ram's horn?
I don't remember. I always have to check lots of different things.
This is, okay. Ram's horns.
There it is.
There it is. And then,
right, Jonathan.
sorry, we're gonna have to move away from chat for a minute. Gotta
Oh, and
I
David would love to go to New Orleans. So,
Yeah, I've never been. It's one of the places I've always wanted to visit. A and that's the other one. Okay. Wait a minute.
yes, KobeCon 10 on the moon. Love it. Oh, Carl's been 3 times and is wondering what's up with you.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you spent exactly 30 seconds talking to Carl, and you know that this is a guy that's been in New Orleans a few times.
Oh, that upper Midwest KobeCon. I don't know about upper, but we could totally pull off a St. Louis.
Yeah. And then let me make sure I've got that right. It's oo, e, e, and e. Perfect.
Oh, sorry. I was supposed to see. I had this tab open, but we never got back to it.
Ing Lala.
But you got it all?
Yeah, I got it all.
Okay.
Okay, so that takes care of those. Now we still have the long vowel sequences. So this is kind of have to be part of definition too. This is getting a lot messier because we couldn't reduce that triple vowel. Part of definition 2. V becomes V. Long vowels shorten in the partitive. Thought this was gonna fix it. Oh man, I think that actually does it, but I can't say that I'm happy with it. It's kind of a mess. And that happens at the end.
Magpie, I'm not sure how to take that. Hopefully by KobeCon 3, the Midwest will have become significantly more inconvenient for me.
Yeah, there's good barbecue there.
So true. Indeed, Arias.
I think we did it. Like, we won't know until these rules get hard-coded in by Graham pretty please, and then we can see if it actually worked. But I think this did it.
I should have saved the cookie until now. I feel like you need a cookie now.
Yeah,
That's,
I really do. Okay.
But we created a split early in the system.
Yeah.
However, it's not a full split because it still undergoes the same simplifications that the other ones do for 10 and 11 and 12, right?
Yeah.
It's just that 13 creates a further simplification.
Yeah. They're asking if we can test words, and that is what should happen next. The only thing I wanted to do is I wanted to check what the source of this thing was going to be, because I'm pretty sure we wrote it down somewhere, but I don't remember where. Let me find partitive. Oh, we never came up with a meaning for it. We just came up with a form. We were
Right.
like, it has to be this. Okay, well, let's find our words. Where we had some. There we go. All right. So.
Oh, nice, Jake.
Beaver. Sale.
And then it would be A.
Sally.
Because it would be AIUL, voiceless L, which becomes A-I-U-H.
Mm-hmm.
And then the H is dropped with no further ramifications.
Mm-hmm.
So it's A-I-U.
Yeah.
A-I-U becomes A-U, which becomes E. Is that correct?
Yep. So we have take, taki. Sale, sali. That's cute. Grass.
Oh, Artie, yes, we always love all your comments. But hopefully wherever you're going, it's a good time, and have a good rest of your day.
Odas, odasu.
Oh, wow, Miles, that sounds interesting. Oh my goodness. Jake, that is dangerous. And I tend to not eat a lot of sugar. And so when I do get something that's super sugary, it's like my body just, whoa, it goes on the immediately up and then down. And so, yeah.
Your body is not optimized the way mine is. I can take any amount of sugar. Except for that gulab jamun. That was too much.
Indeed.
That was the pancake ball, but a specific one I had in India. It was so sweet that it triggered a response in me, kind of like spiciness, where it's like you eat something that's insanely spicy, you go, oh, this was like that, but sweet.
Oh, Jonathan is just like, nope, can't eat that.
But
Carl says they're so good.
So I'd had it before that. I just had a different one, and I was like, oh, that's good. This particular one, it was so super saturated that I just couldn't do it. It was too much. And sweet tea is like pretty much the only good thing to come out of the South. It's just wonderful. No, I won't say only. One of the best.
The sweet tea in the South?
Yeah, really, really good. Love it.
I, on the other hand, cannot drink it because it's too much for me. But thank you, Bubba. Do you see Bubba's comment? Can't handle sweet because I'm already so sweet.
Oh.
Oh, man.
All right. Okay, so here are some examples. So sale becomes sali, odas becomes odasu, and bunga becomes bungo. Bunga becomes bungo. Yep. All of these happen to be stressed on the final syllable because of just because of how our stress rules work. Okay, so that's it. We can actually now, if we want to talk about what our poll is going to be, and I do have an idea.
Yay!
We can just come up with some nouns, and we can actually make our table because we're done. Like we're not going to have any more inflections that occur on the noun. We'll have articles, which we'll discuss later. But in terms of the actual inflection that's going to appear on the noun and what it's going to show up as, we are done.
Yes. Yes.
Woo. Okay, so now regarding our poll, this is what I think that we should do. We have a sound change that changes post-vocalic voiceless L into H, and then we have something that makes it disappear. So we're going to play with some options about this liaison that we were talking about. One of them is going to be to have it not happen, unless it's so universally unpopular that we just don't want to include that as an option. And then the other is it going to show up as an L or is it going to show up as an H?
Okay.
In other words, at what point in time is the way to think of it is this. Let's just say that we had the frog or something is like bungo is, I don't know, ala or something. That's like an article or whatever, all right? At what point in time will the Beavers think of these things as such a unit that it will actually become like, bung ul ala or bung au hala, right? If you say that they start thinking of it as a unit at the end, then bung au ala. And basically those are going to be the three options, I think. So,
in chat, I think Jake is suggesting that Henry Higgins is not a typical British accent.
really?
British. That's how's that?
Yeah.
And by the way, Jake knows that I'm really horrible at accents, and so I never try to seriously do.
I think for Americans, like the absolute like top prototypical bad British accent is Dick Van Dyke from Mary Poppins. So I don't know how Brits think about that, but for Americans, we think of that as like, oh, it's so bad that we all recognize that it's really bad. Is that true over in England, that they also think of the...
Oh my God. People, I feel that I would not survive without some sort of pastry thrown at my face.
They do feel the same, because I will tell you that over here there is the sense that like all the British people are saying, oh my God, Hugh Laurie's American accent is so bad in House, and none of us think that.
Yeah, none of us do. It's actually really, really good, to the point where most Americans have no idea that Hugh Laurie is British because they only know him from House.
Yeah, and yet I just see post after post saying like, oh my gosh, Hugh Laurie's American accent is cringeworthy. And it's like, I'm not sure that you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, cringeworthy. Well, and I told David, Colin Farrell has gotten much better at his American accent. But like, if you see early movies with Colin Farrell, specifically American Outlaws, he's trying to do a Jesse James. He plays Jesse James in a movie, and he's trying to do a rural Missouri kind of Southern accent, and it's laughable, but very cute because he was a cute kid.
My gosh. I mean, it's one thing if not knowing Hugh Laurie is, British, but like, had you never heard of Hugh Laurie? Because he was kind of famous before House.
Right. Including as a musician. Like, Hugh Laurie is, yeah. But anyway.
Now, for Jonathan, saying that they've never heard anybody say that, you have to go back. You have to go back to when House was like current and new, back to that internet. Because you'll find it. There were tons of British people saying that his American accent was bad. Anyway. All right.
Thanks, Jonathan.
So now that we've got what the poll is going to be settled, let's go here. And let's see.
What are we going to have? Oh my God, I'm suddenly blanking. Have we talked about number yet, or we've only done the partitive?
No, we did. We haven't done it yet, but they're going to be articles.
Gotcha. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I'm momentarily just like...
Yeah. We can also talk about what the meaning of ush is going to be. So again, as a reminder, generic number is going to be just non-defined, and so it could be plural. And then we're going to have a singulative article and a paucal article. So in other words, like exactly one of something and then a few of something. Otherwise, it's just going to be unspecified. Not necessarily plural, just underspecified. And so you won't need it. But yeah, articles, that's what we're going to do. Okay, so then here...
oh, Bubba.
Not those kind, unfortunately.
Not yet.
We'll get there. And when I say we'll get there, I mean for how off.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so how many different...
Well, and then there's, of course, Wooster and Jeeves.
And
there was
loved
also...
Wooster and Jeeves. That's...
Oh my God, what's the one show called?
A bit of Fry and Laurie?
Fry and Laurie, thank you. I was like, I could...
Yeah, I know that it's Jeeves and Wooster, but that doesn't make any sense. Sorry, just like half four and all that. It is Wooster and Jeeves by gum. And that is one of my favorite shows of all time. Now, it did kind of go off the rails in season 4, which is too bad. It got a little cartoonish because I don't think that whoever was in charge really understood the charm of it. But what a wonderful, wonderful period piece. And Stephen Fry, and I don't understand why it's not available streaming anywhere, apparently. Okay, so I want to see how many endings we have. Ooh, oh, e. That's it. We only have 3 endings, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we only have 3 endings. Okay, so
Slash, here, click on the chat again.
Yep.
Slash the potential consonant endings. So that will be decided because the consonant may or may not be added in. Isn't that what the poll is about?
Oh, that's for liaison.
Yeah. Oh, right. Okay, never mind. Mm-hmm.
Oh. So I'm trying to think about the best way to put this into a table.
Because it would, anytime it follows a consonant base, it's just going to be ooh.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, indeed.
Well, Jake, you were a bit young, yeah?
I don't know that I've ever seen full episodes of Fry and Laurie, a bit of Fry and Laurie. I've only seen clips.
I have. I'll tell you one thing. They do this. I think there's a couple of sketches where they're parodying Australians. The least funny thing that they do. I don't understand the humor at all, and I think it must be just British people find it funny.
And also, I will say, too, that David introduced me to Jeeves and Wooster, the show. I didn't even know it was a show. I had read the books, though. I've read almost every Jeeves and Wooster book.
Yeah.
And so, like, I knew a lot of the plot lines that showed up in the shows. But, yeah, I didn't know it was a show until, like, 4 years ago.
They only have 3 endings. Okay. I got this.
Oh, and I have not seen Killing Eve. No. I heard that was pretty good, though.
What is that?
A show, Killing Eve. I honestly don't remember anything other than, like, I remember what the title screen looks like. There, that's the title screen I remember. But it's got
is
Sandra
that
Oh
yeah.
was the one I remembered most from it. Ooh, it's a British spy thriller television series.
Okay, you're gonna have to give me just a second here. I've got to do some formatting. There. Now I'll get rid of that and go back and bring that back. Put people's names in there. Okay, oddly enough, I don't think we need this. Well, maybe for the meaning. Let's see if we can fit this in. No, we don't need this. Wait.
I love you.
I'm rather fond of you too. This is embarrassing. I'm just making a table here. Why is this coming out so wrong? I think, you know what? I'm going to just get rid of that. We're going to again, I'm going to do this. Going to do that. Going to do that. Get rid of that. Back to here. And we're, of course, just going to rocket away from where we were.
Ooh, if only Jake could drop a video or a voice recording here, because they say that apparently when they try and do a Belfast accent, it comes out kind of Scottish. I would love to hear them. Same, Veronica, same.
What was that? I was trying to think of this staged uh, the thing that keeps catching what's his face up that David Tennant keeps saying, where he says he sounds cartoonish. Like it's one specific word.
Yeah,
Herd? Is it herd? Herd? Or
maybe. Oh
something
my
like.
gosh, I've forgotten. That's from Staged.
Yeah.
Jake Burton. Aw, thank you, Jake.
Okay, wait.
I can type in any accent I want, Miles.
Hmm.
And I don't think I know what clip you're talking about. Pasta, pasta, pasta.
Is it Glasgow? Because if it's Glasgow, the only thing I want to talk about Glasgow right now is Wonka.
Oh, the internet sensation that I still don't fully understand what's happening every time you show me things, but I smile and nod at you anyway.
Nobody does. Okay, so this is Odas, and then this is Odasu. All right. Can you
And nothing happens to S between.
that's really not how you say it. Okay, how do you say Glasgow?
Nothing happens there. Okay, what did you want me to look up?
We're going to okay, what's the word for beaver?
Sale.
And it ends in AI.
Yes.
We want to do this in an orderly fashion. Let's do something that ends in single vowels. So we have
Bunga is frog.
frog. All right, and then we're gonna do them all.
Oh, Karis is saying Glasgow. Glasgow.
I accept your suggestion, but I'm still probably gonna say Glasgow.
Are you going to add another row below that and show the diphthong, or are you going to add tons of rows and show all the diphthongs?
Good
What you
question.
going to do, David?
It's a very good question. Like, what makes sense here?
Actually, wait.
Yeah.
What makes sense is grouping everything that's going to become, say, E together, which includes
Yeah.
IA, AI, IU, UI, and II. So, like, I think it would just say, like, any of these diphthongs are going to fall into this pattern where whatever the final vowel is going to be replaced with an E.
What about these though? Because this one also becomes that. And then this one just becomes U.
Oh, Rodney is asking if we've seen our movie yet. Not yet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, it just makes sense to me to say, like, any of these things. Otherwise, we're going to have a lot of different rows showing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, I know. And so like I think they're just gonna get really big. Like
Is it the case that any diphthong with an I in it becomes E? Yes, yes, yes. And a long vowel with an I. So anyway, like any double vowel sequence at the end of a root with an I in it becomes.
yeah, even this one does. Okay, so like
Okay, there's only one. No, the I supersedes the U. And then if it has an, except for that one, never mind. Okay. Okay.
Totally Glasgow.
I mean, I don't know what you want to do there.
I don't either. Like,
and I.
okay. And then for this one, what's everything that becomes O? We'll just
Everything
start
that
with
becomes
that.
O is AA, AU. That's it.
Okay.
AA and AU.
Okay, we're going to delete this row. And how about everything that just becomes a vowel that becomes regular U? So that's U, U,
and
U,
then UA,
UA.
UU, which you've already said, and that's it.
That's it. All right, let's create a word that ends in ooh.
Okay. A word that ends in oo. I'm going to add this here. And I'm going to say, let me remind myself what our sounds are.
Popo is bunny in Finnish.
Oop, went too far.
It's funny, whatever the meaning of our partitive is, that'll end in U, because it's going to be ooh.
Say gabu becomes something, and it means
Gabu. Later, Jonathan.
it means leaf.
There we go. Smashing. There we are. We have a table. I'm not sure if it's the best way to present this as formation, especially since there was a misspelling. Crucial one.
What misspelling?
I misspelled the partitive.
Oh, I missed that. I missed the misspelling.
Yeah. All right. And so, with that, I have to think beavers and frogs will be close friends.
Well, beavers and turtles definitely will be.
I think that's all we've got. I think like we're completely tapped out, and that is literally the last thing that we have.
But we made it. We know what our poll is. Patrons, sit tight for a podcast. It'll happen. Thank you all for being here, and hopefully next time we actually stream when we stream. And, you know, we won't talk to empty air. And let me say, it's really odd when it takes us a good 6 minutes to realize that nobody's responding to what we're saying on air. And it takes a bit to realize what's happening. So,
Yeah.
thank you all for sticking with us and being here. And
Yep.
until next time, stay grammar.
Yep.
And jewelry hells.
Don't forget tongues and runes tomorrow, and also let's have a booba.
Let's have a booba. That's right. And if you're into it, Dune 2.
Oh yeah, that's right. And then hopefully you'll see our stuff in it. Anyway.
Hooray!
Hooray.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Oh, and happy LangTime anniversary.